Now to the fallout from that Cleveland police chase and shooting that left 2 people dead. We got our first look at the state's report yesterday, and this morning East Cleveland residents are still angry that 22-minute chase from in November ended in their city. Well, now some residents want federal officials to get involved. Last night they packed the city council meeting, and Councilwoman Barbara Thomas has been outspoken in her concerns about the deadly chase that ended with the death of Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams. And new this morning, a resident who lives near the site where that chase ended explains why she wants more done.
One, this cannot stand. 2, it needs to go to the federal level. 3, this is not a war zone. And 4, this is the United States of America.
The mayor of East Cleveland did not comment on that report. His law director is now reviewing it. The Russell family has been pushing all along for answers into the deadly shooting, and this morning they are reacting to DeWine's report. Joining us this morning is Paul Cristallo. He's the attorney for Timothy Russell's family and Russell's sister-in-law, Jackie. And Jackie, first of all, we are very sorry for your loss, and we appreciate you being here today. Could you give us an idea of where you were yesterday? Were you watching? When did you hear those words, systemic failure, and what was your response?
Well, initially when I saw it online, actually live, and initially I think that overall we were satisfied with the investigation results, but I think that it's more than just a systemic failure. I think it's more with officers not performing as they maybe have been trained, going by the policies of the police department. It's like they just totally disregarded all of the policies and just went on a wild hunt, just on like cowboys. When I heard different things about the individual interviews of the officers, I was actually shocked at some of the responses that officers made as to how they reacted when they arrived on the scene, and each one just pulling out their guns, just shooting and shooting, and they're having a gunfight with themselves, killing Timothy and Melissa because they were unarmed. Yeah. So they're just gunning down 2 people that were not armed.
And so you're more pained this morning in some ways than before yesterday.
Right, and disappointed in the police department. You want to feel as a citizen that you can depend on them to respond appropriately, even when there's chaos around them, and they didn't do that.
Jackie, I have to ask you, because we hear this a lot. If only the driver had stopped, things would be different. And Timothy had a history with police, and so I'd like to know if he ever shared with you any fear, or any family member, any fear of police officers. We're trying to understand what happened that night.
Right. Well, I think that something happened with that initial stop with the unmarked car that caused him and Melissa to be afraid and to have fear and flee. Now, I do know that from things that the family have said in public, that the police had been harassing Melissa, and there was something going on with that. And I also think that maybe Timothy was trying to protect Melissa and trying to get her away from something that she feared. But see, they're not here. If the proper policies and procedures were followed, they can be here to say, well, this is why we took off.
We'll never know.
But they're not here to do that.
Mr. Cristallo, what's next for the family?
Well, we're hoping that the City of Cleveland continues to conduct their investigation. They still have some investigating to do on their own. I think, as Jackie indicated, we're pleased with the report that Special Agent Kolar authored, but it raises a lot more questions in our minds than it answers. I mean, it raises a lot of questions about accountability, responsibility, and quite frankly, I think it raises questions about the culture within the department. So we're going to wait for the City of Cleveland, hopefully, to do a diligent, thorough job and wrap this up, and we're going to see what that brings.
And in the end, Jackie, on behalf of the family, what do you want to see come out of this? Changes, policy differences?
Right. I think that there, of course, the police department, they have policies in place. I think that they need to use this sort of as an example to police officers that under all circumstances you have to follow the policy, because you did not follow the policies and procedures of the department. You have 2 people that were murdered, that were unarmed and shot at 137 times. And I just think they need to, you know, really stress that. And also, I'm sure there are different policies that they need to change and update and revise. The city of Cleveland they really need to take a handle of this and make sure that this never happens again. Anything close to this. This is just, it's just sometimes I still think back on it, and just to think about 2 people unarmed being shot at 137 times, what that fear level must be for them, you know. It's just crazy.
Well, I can hear the pain in your voice. I know that the wounds are reopened now after hearing the details yesterday. We appreciate you both being here today. Obviously, we're going to stay on top of this, and please extend our condolences to your family.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.